You're watching It's Your Money. I'm Deborah Uroda, and in the studio we have Brad Tafoya with Tafoya Barrett and Associates. And as you may know, we've been talking about financial life planning. We've talked about the 7 stages of money maturity and what kinds of questions that Brad asks to kind of envision your future. But before you do any of those exercises, how do you get your clients ready to really discuss their future and think about their future?
Yeah, that's a great question, Deb. And really what we do, we kind of covered this in some of the other discussions, but it's all about providing a space or a container for the client to be able to open up. And so for the first meeting, all I really do is I just listen to them. I ask them a simple question, which is, why are you here? And then I shut up and I just let them speak. And the more I listen intently and the more I let them speak, the more they open up. And that provides the foundation of the space for them to really start to think about what they want to do. And then we go into the 7 stages of money maturity and eventually the 3 questions. And that allows them to open up even more.
Can we talk about those 3 questions real quick again? Because I think those were very interesting and it might give people a foundation of why you do what you do.
Yeah. They are very important, and I think, as you pointed out last time, everybody should maybe answer those questions for themselves. And so again, the 3 questions are, as come up with by George Kinder, are the first question really is, if you had all the money that you ever needed in your life, how would you change your life? And so I get clients to answer that question and try to answer that one fully before we move on to the second question. They usually do that at home. It gives them time to think about it. The second question then is, okay, with this question, now you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you that you have 5 to 10 years to live. You won't know when you're going to pass away. You won't feel any pain. How would you change your life under those circumstances? And that provides them a great way to think about things a little bit differently. And then the final and third question is, and you can see how these build upon each other, is now you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you you have 1 day left to live. And it's not about what are you going to do with that 1 day. It's about reflecting back on who did you not get to be? What do you most regret? What did you not get to do? And so it's like this big funnel that really focuses the clients in on what's most important in their lives, whether it be financial or not.
And once you feel like you have no stone unturned, then what happens? How do you move to the next, move to that next level to start getting excited about planning?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so I brought a book with me today, again, by George Kinder, Lighting the Torch. And so what we do, after we've spent the first 2 meetings with the clients, and I've really listened intently, and we've gone through the exercises, including the 3 questions, and I've done that, if I've done my job well, where I've listened intently without giving any advice, pushing and pulling, and just really providing that container for the clients to dream and hope without restriction. And as you say, once I feel like there's no heartstone left unturned, then we go into the process called lighting the torch. And with that, what I'm really attempting to do is I'm trying to paint a very vivid picture, including all of the senses of what their life might be like in 1 to 2 years from now if we made some simple changes. That picture is full of all the things that came up during those first 2 meetings, and the exercises, and all of the things that are really in the client's heart's core. And so I paint that picture, and again, if I've listened well and I've done my job and I paint that picture, they come out of that meeting with this incredible vigor to start making changes in their lives. They're more motivated than they ever have been before. And the things that seemed impossible before now seem within reach because I've lit that torch for them.
And so then they can see how they can use their financial tools to realize their good life, the life that they want to lead, instead of being hemmed in by their financial tools and financial planning. So it can be a real open heart kind of thing. I mean, yeah. I don't know how else to call it, but it's an exciting way to approach your life, I think. And so what do you think is going to be the number 1 difference between traditional financial planning? Here are your goals. Here's the money you need to save. Blah, blah, blah. How is this really different?
Oh, it's another great question, Deb. And so, again, the first thing is I've listened to the client. I've allowed them to, I've given that space to really dream and hope. And then, again, if I've done my job well, I've painted this picture of what their life can be like. And they're motivated. One of the first things that happens, though, is they start to think about obstacles. Well, I can't do that because of da, 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 da. So there's another meeting where we work on that. First, I allow them to dream and to live that dream for a couple of weeks. Then we come back and we start addressing these obstacles. And again, we work on those together. And usually, again, if I've done my job correctly, I'm letting the client come up with the solutions. And so it's very empowering. And when we're all done, then finally, we haven't really talked about finances, but finally we bring the finances in. And the financial plan is built upon the foundation of those dreams and those hopes and having worked through those obstacles. And so that's how the process goes. And again, they're more motivated than they typically are in the most financial sense because they've been empowered. This is about them making the change themselves.
And so onward and upward, you keep on living a better life.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Brad. I really appreciate it. And financial life planning, really interesting topic. And it's not just about saving money. It's about empowering yourself to live a fuller, richer life. And if you'd like to know more, contact Brad at tafoyabarrett.com.